So we have some very special guests with us tonight. Frazer and Wendy McGruer, Hubert and Steve Vandestadt, and John and Sydney Kilpatrick, all from the B&M Vandestadt McGruer boat building company from the 70s. I guess is it 70s or?
Up to 88.
Up to 88.
Wow.
And they've been part of the design and the manufacture of the boat that we all enjoy so much. So I've asked if they could come up and give us a bit of background about the company, about the boat, and I'm sure we're going to pepper them with lots of really hard technical questions. And you have the right to say you don't know or that the question's too nerdy to read. Then I'll turn it over perhaps to start with Frazer.
Okay.
All right.
Randy, as he just said, he asked me if we give you a little bit of the history of the company. And happy to do that when I can remember it. A bit like Red Green on CBC the other day. He was saying that at his age, you know, memory can be a problem. And he said, I know that Alzheimer's is no laughing matter, but he said, at least they can hide their own Easter eggs.
And it is funny.
Anyway, going back to the beginning, it would take a long time to do this in detail, but Hubert and I got together in 1965 in Hubert's and Steve's basement, and we started building wooden plywood spinners, both completing them and selling them in kit form. That lasted until Steve got very upset about the taste of epoxy in her apple pie. So we got booted out to the barn, the stable under the old barn in Hubert's place. And we insulated the wood wall. First of all, we shoveled all the manure out and took all the stalls out and cleaned it up a bit. Then we insulated the ceiling with reject foam car seats from the Goodyear plant over there, which we got for nothing. And we put over that too. We put something underneath that.
We put some plastic on there.
That's right. I think we could only afford 2 mil plastic. We wanted to use 4.
Stapled it on.
So we did that, and we built one. Well, the first year, I guess, we didn't do any fiberglassing in there at all. We didn't start until 66 with the skunk. It was our first fiberglass boat. But we put 3 or 4 groups of spindrift kit builders through each winter. And we sold a lot of spindrifts that way. We sell the kit. Complete kit with sales was $595. And we provided the space and instruction 2 nights a week and Saturday. So it was great. Got a lot of boats out that way. Got a little bit of money rolling, and then in '66 I gave up my job at RCA, and we started taking in repairs and managed to keep busy. And then the next year, I believe you also quit your job.
That's right.
Yeah. And that was, as I said, the year we started building the skunk. So we had to establish an enclosed spray booth. We really went wild this time and used 4 mil poly. And, 1x2 strapping in one corner of the barn. And one of the windows, I built a plywood cover for the window with a rotating, adjusting opening in it. And I went downtown to the Wreckers and I got the fan out of a 1942 Ford and an old washing machine motor, and that was our exhaust fan.
Yeah, good work.
Anyway, that worked pretty well until, well, what was the first year we put building out down in the field?
Probably 1967, I think it was.
Probably, yeah.
66.
Yeah, anyway,
Or later?
around that, the contractor actually had the steel framing up for the building this day, and this gentleman came into the stable, and he took one look around from Ministry of Labor. And he moved to this plastic and car seats up there. Oh God, guys, I said, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to lock the door. He said, you cannot do this in here. So I said, well, please, you know, in another month or 6 weeks, that building down there won't be complete. Could you turn a blind eye? And he was very good. He did. He said, I wasn't here.
Oh, that's very good.
And that saved our skin, actually. So we got the first 6,000 square feet. First part of the building was up. And then, I guess the first year at the roadshow was come, we'd gone in there, having decided that we better not take orders for any more than 30 because we probably couldn't get them built in time. Well, we got greedy and we took orders for 66 first year. And, so that really got us going. And then, what year did you come out, John? Was that 66? 67. So then I got a letter from my dad. I was, as John was, we served our apprenticeships with my McGruer company, my family's boat building company in Scotland. I got a letter from my dad, who might be telling that pretty soon we'd have to hire somebody, some help. So my dad wrote and told me that he had this apprentice just about finished. And he said, he's a cheeky wee bugger, but he's the best damned apprentice that's come through this place for a long time. You need help, try and get him. So there he is.
Yay.
So that sure helped us out, and we pumped out a fair number of boats after that. We then, we had been building the plywood spindrift, that's correct, and we made a mold and started turning the spindrift down fiberglass as well. And then I guess the next boat was the siren. Or did we do the shrimp first? Did we work the shrimp in between them? But anyway, 1972, we came out with the siren. And I don't know, but Hubert's wife, she designed the lovely curvaceous lady that you have on your sails. Hubert and I didn't know how to draw those shapes. Anyway, again, first year at the boat show, hull number 1, we had it there, but it wasn't actually quite complete. And of course we had not sailed it. So some people were a bit skeptical about placing an order for a boat that we had sea trial. We managed to convince quite a few of them that it was going to work. And there it was sitting there in all its glory with a price tag of $1,995 including sales. Anyway, we sold it the same. And we thought we should get the sea trials out of the way as soon as we could. The ice was still in here, so we couldn't do it yet. So we towed the completed boat, number 1, down to, what was it? Portrait, that's right. Our dealer down there, Hubert, met us, and I had driven down a big old Pontiac wagon towing the siren on a McGruer 22 trailer, I think it was. And Hubert had driven down in this Toyota, met Rupert there, went sailing, both worked beautifully, came back in, tied up a service dock, and Rupert had brought along a wee bottle of scotch to celebrate. So 3 of us sitting in the cockpit. It was a cool day, but nice sunny day. And I had, before, of course, I had to do this before I had scotch. I went back the trailer in to the ram and left it and went aboard the boat. We had our little ram, and all of a sudden, Rupert jumped to his feet. He said, "Oh my God, your car!" And here's the trailer in my station wagon slowly backing itself down the ramp. Fortunately, I was wearing a warm suit, which is kind of a wetsuit. You know, it's pants. So Hubert ran like hell to get his Toyota and some rope, and I ran like hell. And by the time I got around to where this thing was, all it was sticking out was the top of the front roof rack.
Oh, jeez.
I said, no. Hubert came roaring over with his little Toyota and backed it up. I had to get in the water to tie this rope underneath the front of the car. My God, it was cold. It was March. Anyway, got it tied onto the back of Hubert's car. We knew we couldn't pull it out, but at least we could stop it going any further. So then we called the wrecker, and the wrecker came and I had to go into the water again to hook on his chain. And we got it out. Apart from that, it was a very successful day. The car was never quite the same. And the amazing thing is that when we did get it out, when we started pulling on it with the wrecker, once it got its wheels on the ramp, he couldn't move it because the parking brake was still on and it was still in gear. So to this day, we don't know how now I managed to go back. Anyway, one new transmission later, and a day or two later, I got back to Vandestadt. The wagon went into a paint drying booth at one of the body shops for 3 or 4 days to cook it dry. That was the end of that. So that's how the siren basically was born. It was very successful for us over the years between 72 and 88. We produced approximately 3,500 sirens. Well, I'm sure you see them all over the place yourself.
Yeah.
And they seem to be lasting well. And I'm asked the question quite often, you know, would you ever get back into the boat building business again? And my answer is no, apart from my age. The capital costs are horrible. And the market is still not that good. So they would say, well, what happened to the market? And I said, well, we built them far too well. They lasted way too long. We weren't smart enough to learn from the automobile manufacturing industry and have some built-in obsolescence.
Yeah.
So people started saying, well, how could you do that with a boat? I said, well, it would be relatively simple. Instead of using fiberglass and resin, we could use burlap and molasses. Anyway, that's basically an outline. And of course, we built the way we came up with Series 21, and Series 28, and a small run of 7 Series 26s. That was near the end. So I think maybe Hubert could pad that a little. Would you like to take over here?
Sure. No, actually, I was sitting very comfortably over there. Frazer makes a good start. He didn't tell me I had to do the second part. So,
Was it like that when you were
definitely. Anyway, as Frazer said, after the siren, probably one of the things I should mention about the siren, we came up with the design of the boat. We wanted to make the boat unsinkable. I think that probably was the main feature why so many people like the idea of the boat. And people who were new into sailing, you thought about families, kids, mostly about new people, because in the mid-60s, sailing was still fairly new. When we came to this area, there were very few sailboats. And most people had to be introduced, had to be taught. We had some sailing courses here in the area, and we felt actually that to make it safe, and sinkability was an important feature. That's another thing we tried as well. Frazer noticed the first time we had the boat, we filled it up with water, and to see if it actually will float, and it did. It was not self-righting, and I suppose some of you people have figured this out already.
I don't think so.
It's electric.
I don't think anybody's tipped over.
No, you haven't tried it yet.
No.
You should try it actually.
Yeah.
And we put it in the manual as well, that you should actually fill the boat with pressure and see how it floats, and also how it needs some help actually in order to ride the boat.
I don't think you can tip them. I've done the best I could ever do.
Yeah.
And I could not get that thing tipped
It
over.
can be done.
Yeah.
I have heard tales of it.
Yeah.
Can you show us tomorrow?
That's the
problem, they built them too good and you can put too much stuff in it. I'm not gonna put it with all that stuff.
Anyway, that was the main feature of it, the cell bale and cockpit of it as well. And the furling gear, which we thought was an easy feature of the boat as well. People don't have to go forward and roll up the sail. What else can I tell you about the design of it?
Oh,
Hubert
how
designed
much
Oh
wind?
yeah, sorry.
How much wind is it? Like, what were you thinking in terms of wind speed? Like
Wind
maximum
speed?
wind speed
For how many?
for like before you'd have to head for shore immediately.
Well, I think if you get scared, you should go ahead.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody's got different levels actually of feeling comfortable with it.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the boat, of course, it rounds up into the wind actually,
Yeah.
as soon as you get start to keel.
Yeah.
And that's the main feature of it. One thing actually we talked about here is actually the keel and about locking it down in the position with the extra bolt. We mentioned that, and I was just wondering how many people actually doing that. So
Only on rough days.
that's the locking bolt actually.
Yeah, only on rough days.
Yeah, when you're out there, yeah. So that's
Like
a good thing to do.
30 knots.
30 knots?
Yeah. No, if it's 20 knots or above, I would lock it down.
Yeah.
But I was out like last week or 2 weeks ago. It was probably 30 knots up to 35 knots.
Why didn't you put a backstay on the side?
Well, we felt actually the less wires, the easier it is. And so that's why we put the lower shrouds facing aft. And that would hold the mast up. And so it would actually.
The only fault I saw is that without the backstay, the forestay that the furling jib was on would go loose or could
Yes.
go loose.
Mhm. That's
And
right, yeah.
That was a problem, you know.
Yeah. I don't think the backstay actually. Yeah, that probably would have helped.
We did put a backstay on if a spinnaker was going to be used.
But sometimes you could use less sail as well if you're getting a lot of movement. You might be able to use less sail and not have so much trouble, right?
Yeah. Well, we didn't want to put too much sail area on it. And some
Yeah.
people felt actually the boat could have used more.
Yeah.
And I think one time we had the Genoa as an option as well. I'm not quite sure if many people bought those.
Not many.
Does anybody have a Genoa? You have a Genoa? And you still have it as a furling Genoa?
Yeah, it has hanks on it as well.
Okay.
And, but it depends. What I've been doing lately with it, I don't find much advantage over the regular jib.
Should be able to go.
Are you talking about 100% jib? I have a 115 Genoa, and it's much more
Mine
powerful.
must be 155 or 160.
Yeah, yours is very large.
Yeah, it's very large, but it has hanks on it. It will furl, but what I've been doing lately is just clipping one or two hanks on it. And that just cleans up the leading edge of the sail.
I have a question. What about the mysterious, the sail numbers never seem to correspond to the hull numbers? I'm wondering how that started.
Well, that was, in the beginning, we tried to match those up. The hull numbers and the sail numbers. And then actually we blamed it on the sailmaker. We ordered all the sails and they didn't always come in time. And we had all these holes made.
Oh, of course.
And of course the sail numbers were not there to match up. So we shipped them up actually. Yes, we didn't care anymore
Yeah.
after. Because the boats had to go out.
Yeah.
So we were making these sirens actually at one time, Frazer, we almost had 3 shifts, we had 2 shifts going for a number of years. And at one time we had 3 shifts going. And it was quite nice to see all these boats going out at the end of the week. And we had one trail that we had built and that took 9 sirens. So it was a wonderful sight at the end of the week because then we were getting paid again.
I have one question. The rivets which go in the mast, should they be stainless or aluminum?
They were aluminum.
They were aluminum? So just regular aluminum rivets?
I forget the specifications that we bought, but I don't think they were anything special to them.
Which one is this?
Rivets in the mast.
So the ones that the shrouds, that attach the shrouds to the mast?
Well, you have different, let's lead into another question. Why are there so many differences in the actual rigging? Like what, years I can figure out, 71, 72, 73, and then you did a major shift in your rigging team.
Which part?
With the, well, before 73, is a tank for the forestay, double rivets, tank for the shrouds, double rivets, and then you went to the actual, like the mast round.
Yeah.
After that, but it's not only that, then you have an older one, so you don't have the actual mast on it, I don't think.
Oh, well, I don't know if mine is original.
Oh, okay. But, and then there's the, like the, the 3 different kinds of rigging.
Yeah, actually there were improvements all the time.
Yeah.
Actually what the car manufacturers called as well.
Yeah.
We were improving constantly. So
Yeah.
quite often we had better sources, actually, that we could get, or an existing source that would dry out.
Yeah.
And then we had to look for a new source. I
Yeah.
remember the mast hounds, like see, that was a combination of the shrouds and the forestay. That was one thing that McGruer put together. So we
Yeah.
got
But the different rigging is just wild. Like there's 3 different sizes.
and in the beginning we had the nitro press.
3 different lengths of boom, I found.
Really?
At least, yeah.
Oh, somebody's been out there.
Yeah, yeah.
My siren has double shroud.
Double shrouds.
Yeah.
You mean actually from the top of the mast to double shrouds?
One pair comes from the top and the other, and the second pair comes from
Oh, yeah.
2/3 up.
There must have been a surprise.
Yeah.
How many different colors of hull?
Sorry?
How many different colors?
Colors?
The whole.
Red, blue, and white.
No, we have quite a variety of colors.
Occasionally yellow.
Yellows are out there, yeah.
Yeah, we had yellow. We had some special colors, but we had standard colors that we changed over a number of years. The whites changed from white to beige, and yeah, we had the orange.
The siren orange, yeah.
Yeah, the orange was a popular color.
Navy blue.
Yeah, I think we had blue.
Well, we have
You had blue, but
Navy
how
blue,
about navy blue?
It would have been a special order if we did.
Yours is a special one.
What color is your old?
Navy blue with blue sails and double shroud.
Oh yeah.
That might have been painted afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, it sits right in the parking
Doesn't look
lot.
as
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been painted.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
Ball grip, you wouldn't think
Special
you couldn't
order.
tell the difference when they
Well,
all.
it'd have to be a that was made on 3rd shift.
Yeah.
I have a question. In the last of the brochures, there's a siren that appears to have flush windows with sharp corners to the cutout outline, and nobody's ever seen one.
There again, it must have been an order that must be.
No.
That's right. Yes.
Is that
Yes. Yeah, we make those.
On the sides?
You said it's flush, or?
it appears it's a siren with windows like a Lake DS16 where it's not a rubber molding holding the glass in. It appears to be possibly flush with the surface, but sharp corners and tinted glass.
It was over the surface, like
It was over the surface.
in plexiglass.
It wasn't airbrushed in anticipation of the next year. You saw one?
Oh, yeah, we have one on my lake, it's in
Oh, okay. Great.
That is a good way to fix if you've lost your original window.
Right.
And you can't get the moldings. It's a very economical way to put a new window in.
I found the moldings and I've been changing them on mine and, regularly.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Right on. Yeah.
What about the molds? What happened to them?
Well, apparently the molds were purchased by Abbott Boatworks at the time of the auction. And Abbott Boatworks is in Sarnia. And as far as I know, Frazer, they have not built any other boats.
They used the skunk, the 11-foot hull mold, with a modified interior and went from the gaff rig to slip rig. And then they built not a whole lot of that one, but I forget what they call it. But, the rest of the molds basically Abbott bought them to prevent anyone else from buying them.
Oh, yeah.
Competition with.
Uh-huh.
It's a real shame, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions?
What about old Bill's questions? Remember those ones? What were they?
One is the
Actually, the
speed.
back
I'll tell you
is
one, I'll tell you one
got-
for,
got
design
stamped in,
for
like,
on the,
starts with 2 letters, and then a whole bunch of numbers. Is there any way of telling when that boat was built, or what the hull number is for that?
Last two numbers.
That's off the Sirius.
A series?
Sirius 21.
Yeah, generally the last 2 digits are the year.
Yeah.
In some cases, there might be a letter after the last digit. But in that case, it doesn't be second last and third last of the year. There were 3 different Coast Guard numbering systems over the years.
Okay, come on, boys.
Where
think-
are we
think-
getting the water that comes in on the, underneath the mattresses inside the boat? Where would that be suspected to come in? Is it fitting or between the hull and the deck where it was fastened with the rubber and the ceiling that goes around the boat? Where might that be coming in?
Right there.
That's a question for Frazer for John.
The most likely spot there would be the deck to hull joint. It gets stressed in a large part from docking too over the years. You hit a dock hard,
It's gonna break the seal.
rivets come loose, you know, so you can remedy that by putting some bolts and, you know, lifting the molding up on the inside.
Oh, I see.
And, you know, putting a few bolts in there. But that happens with a lot of boats.
So just running a bead of sealant around there, that will...
Yes, you can do that, as long as the hull is tight to the deck. Just stress it.
Right.
And just re-caulk it, which you have to do every few years.
I see. Okay.
Top and bottom.
Top and bottom. If you did the bottom like I did, after I did the bottom perfectly, it rained, and I went in and I found gallons and gallons of water in the boat because, of course, I created a huge funnel.
Right.
Because the water, all the water in the boat goes down past the coamings and down onto the molding, and then if it can't be allowed to drain out of the molding. So the top is actually the most important thing. If you open at the bottom, it wouldn't matter as much.
You reworked the original.
Sorry, I got a question over there.
I was wanting to ask, like, I mean, aside from the very obvious Dutch accent, right? Did you get like training in Europe yourself?
Sorry, what did I
did you get any training in Europe yourself as a boat builder?
Yes, yeah. Not as a boat builder, as a designer for big ships. So I went to a college for naval architecture. Basically taught actually about designing big ships. And I always wanted to be in the boat building business, the pleasure business.
Is that okay?
Of course, when Frazer and I met here, we decided we should do this thing together. So the yacht design aspect of it is not something that I had been taught in, but I learned from books. So the balance of the sail plans and the plans, the lateral plans that the call actually below the area, the same principles applying. So that's actually what we used actually designing sailboats. But I have an uncle, actually, a lot of people ask me about that as well, actually, same as Frazer. His family's yard is in Scotland, and I have a fairly well-known uncle, actually, in Holland, who was a yacht designer. But, my wife and I, after we finished college, actually, we came here, we came to Canada.
I was just going to say, I don't know whether you know it, but on the bottom, the gudgeon where the rudder hangs on, the bottom one is at the water line, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder where I was getting water coming into one of the lockers for a year. I think I was saving that thing. I'd take a gallon of water out every week or something. And you know what it was? The nut had come off the bolt, the middle bolt that holds the gudgeon onto the hull. And you know what you had to do to fix that? I had to cut a hole in the cockpit, cut through the foam, reach down, put the nut and lock washer off, and then cover it up again. Yeah, that was quite a job. And apparently there's been a few cases like that where the nuts vibrate off.
Did you sell any sirens outside of North America?
We never shipped them outside America. We did have a letter from somebody in, I think it was Monaco, actually, who had one. And we had one from Holland. I have no idea how they came there. Certainly they haven't sailed them over.
Maybe.
But we have shipped them actually as far as Newfoundland. We had a dealer in Newfoundland who involved about the truckload. We shipped them out west, but certainly not outside of the United States.
Yeah.
They're everywhere down there.
So it was recommended that you sink your boat. Is that right?
Just keep it.
And buy a new one.
I think the capsizing, it's like a good thing to do.
Take your television out first.
What? I missed that.
Check the television.
Anyway,
Okay.
television.
Well,
More questions?
yeah, the capsizing thing, there's foam inside, right?
Yes.
Now that foam, over the years, doesn't it dry up sometimes and get smaller, shrinks up somewhat?
I don't think so.
No? But, okay, and how much flotation is actually supposed to be there?
Just enough to keep it up.
Yeah, that's right. We figured it out, actually, how much flotation was needed, cubic foot wise, but I don't remember the figures.
Because I have like everything in there.
Well, you
It's
should.
as well equipped as my house. It doesn't say a lot for my house really, but
Then maybe you don't have enough flotation.
yeah.
Especially if you took some of it out to make room for the TV.
No, I'm not the TV guy, that's him. Actually, I do have a TV, okay, I confess. I brought it this weekend just for fun. But,
You quit drinking beer, so
Yeah.
it's in the beer
Yeah.
cooler.
Would you design that boat any different now?
I think it's, yeah, you always make a difference. I think you change the lines a little bit. Yeah, after a few years you think, hey, you make changes. And we made a lot of changes throughout the years. Yeah, I think I probably would make a difference.
Could I add something to it?
Yeah.
The thing, I think the whole idea behind Frazer and Hubert with the boat was to keep it as simple as possible and safe, that you could actually close a hatch on it. A lot of boats were open, that size. So it was to keep the price, and that's the problem now with a lot of boats. They're making them too fancy, too many toys, too expensive. So
yeah.
you try to keep it simple, you know.
Well, when I was looking for a boat a year ago, I couldn't find anything on the market that I like as much as old siren.
Yeah.
Yeah, but certainly a lot of people like it.
Comparable today.
When's the warranty run out?
There's a lifetime warranty on these boats. As long as the company is still in business.
Check your bits in the paper.
Very
I
good.
just want to thank you for doing such a wonderful job. Yeah, really.
Yeah, here.
Ah, there's a good question. I expected that actually. Yeah. What would we change actually?
You probably build the TV right into it.
Well, that's a good question. At times we found actually that at least I certainly found that Frazer, the steel plate, which is of course the centerboard, we had it shaped. And of course, in the beginning, I think the very first plates we had, you had that nasty humming sound because we didn't have enough of a trailing edge.
It was too thick.
It was too thick actually, but we did toy around actually with fitting a different keel in the trunk that would have a bit more weight.
And some more shape.
And some more shape, so it would have a better airfoil or hydrofoil shape, but we couldn't fit it into the trunk.
And it was going to cost a lot more money.
Yeah, it cost a lot more
Yeah.
money as well, so that's something we would have done actually. And maybe the appearance-wise, it probably would have made it a bit more modern again actually.
And I thought that humming sound, that's where that boat got its name from.
We all actually look, we all actually look for that sound because then we know we're going as fast. The first time I sail, I was like, where's that other boat? I want to back to myself and I can't.
That's how we trim the sails.
That's it. as soon as that hum gets a little louder, you know you're going pretty good. You've got the sails trimmed properly.
Now tell me actually, you slacken off the wire, or do you like the sound well enough that you?
I think it's a characteristic of the boat and you keep it.
So that's why you keep it up.
Yeah.
Is it the wire?
Well, it's the wire, of course, that's under tension. And of course, if you slacken it off a couple turns, it's
Yeah.
gone.
But you can adjust the note depending on how tight you make it. For those
Tune
that-
you on, there you go.
But it works. Most people are not in the habit of locking the keel down, which we've been doing. Claire and I have been, and you can wind that thing up and you can change the note quite dramatically because you're pulling against the bolt.
Yeah.
Was there any experimentation with the bolt design or material for a breakaway bolt? If you
Well,
did
it's supposed to
something?
be a 1/4 inch, I believe a 1/4 inch aluminum bolt. And of course, we had a ring nut on it, which would make it
Aluminum
easier to put it in and out.
Mine came
if you
with
would hit a
3
rock-
stainless.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
not good.
yeah,
If
We
you
had
hit
enough-
something, you're gonna cut the trunk.
Yes.
yeah.
We had a
been-
number
I've
of bolts
got-
that came in for repairs. Yeah.
A 3/8 nylon now I was going to try. And the nylon bolt in a vise shears very nicely.
That's all.
Yeah.
The only problem is the minute
Well,
that
maybe
happens,
that's,
the water starts.
I think that's something for Randy to do some checking on. He's in at the metallurgy, so maybe you can find the shear strength actually of the nylon compared with the aluminum bolt.
Get another project, that's good. Right after the TV, I'll look into that.
Did you have any different weights for the keels?
And should tell you, if you got a very old siren, you have a lighter keel.
Yes, it's very light. I can lift it easily.
The first, I don't know how many, we made a first place with 3/8 steel, I believe.
Yeah?
We had over to 5/8.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I've got the light one.
So you got the light one, actually.
Yeah, my sail number is 57.
I think it's
But I've
probably,
got the old mold.
yeah. So that's probably the lighter one, the 3/8
Yeah.
blade, actually.
I found as low as 29, that's the lowest number we've found so far.
Oh, the whole number, sale number?
Sale number 29, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I could suggest there, if you win a race, don't tell them.
Coincidentally,
Now we know how you go so fast.
we're the fastest boat coming in today.
What?
We're the fastest boat coming in today.
Wait,
Yeah.
where with the others?
Yesterday as well.
Well, of course, when you have more winds, and you probably may want to need a bit more weight down there.
Yeah, well, there's lots of room in there. I was thinking of shaping one. There is lots of room in there. You can put your whole
Yeah,
hand
you
up
got
there.
some, you can probably do some cheeks on there.
Well, I have, I cut some truck mud flat, put on the side to hold it in place more.
Oh, just up it.
So there's lots of room. Yeah. And I was thinking about making another one. But I guess I would have to keep it the same shape, just thicker.
We actually here.
But if you're winning, forget it.
If you're winning the race, don't
Yeah,
but
that's right.
We couldn't really get it to be stiff
Yeah,
within the confines of the trunk.
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very good.
Well, did you ever hear of the cirrus being blown over? Because I can't get my cirrus to blow over either.
Well,
just won't
Frazer
go.
has got an experience like that, actually.
Yeah.
But you have one blow over?
Not me personally, but during the Serious 21 Worlds in Port Credit a number of years ago, we had over 20 boats racing. I can't remember the exact number, but when we went down at the start, it was absolutely flat top. We were just sitting there, dead in the water. All of a sudden, it got really black over to the west, and the storm came through very quickly because we were all into life jackets and whatnot. And of the 22 boats, there were 6 knockouts.
Not right down with the sail in the water.
Right down.
Good Lord.
And Wendy and I and our 2 sons were the crew, and the boys were only 8 and 9, I guess. It was pretty scary. I know it was for Wendy. The most scary thing was the lightning. Almost constant. And of course, I had to get one of my sons to steer the boat in this horrendous wind. It was recorded over 70 miles an hour.
wow.
And point horizontal rain. It was just wicked. So I was pretty fearful going out on the deck to take the sails down and hanging on to rigging and masts and stuff like that because you could get struck crazy. And it was was one woman on one of the ones that got knocked down, a very large woman, very tall, and, big fat woman, big lady. And she had been sitting on the windward rail trying to keep the boat level, and they got knocked down, and it threw her about 10 feet out of the boat. She was a world-class swimmer in her youth. She said, I wasn't at all worried about being in the water until she began to feel the electric shocks from the lightning strikes hitting her. And then she said she wanted to get out pretty fast.
So when you say knocked down, that means the cockpit filled with water?
No.
Just went over?
Just mass to the water.
Okay.
And then comes up again.
And then it just comes up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Do you sail now?
Sorry?
Do you sail now?
We just bought a Cirrus 28 about a month ago.
Keeping it in the family, eh?
Yeah, we had a Cirrus 21, and that's for sale, by the way. Yeah, we had a Cirrus 28 quite a few years ago, and then we developed this marine, and we needed the money in order to have the investment in this particular business. So we sold it, but yeah, we're happy that we're able to find one that was for sale here by a local owner. They had it for a number of years. These people originally had a siren and then a Cirrus 21. They're from Kitchener Waterloo, and they decided to sell them. And I tried to argue maximum on the price. And they said, well, it has been appraised. And the appraiser said it's worth $38,000. And said, who's the appraiser? I said, Frazer McGruer. So I only got $1,000 off, actually.
If you paid me enough, I could have told you.
Yeah, I was surprised actually that he put such a high value on it, but and I didn't see the appraisal letter, but that was a couple of years ago.
Did you sell for a good price? They're very desirable boats according to the prices in boat for sale and whatnot.
That's right,
Yeah,
well, I looked on the internet because I just wanted to make sure that there was some others available, but there was only one other one
yes.
on Lake Erie, and apparently Druid wasn't in such good condition.
Because I could buy any number of boats more cheaply than a Sirius boat.
That's right.
I get a Viking or even a Shark or something like that, much cheaper than a Sirius.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, 28 or 21?
21. 21 foot is an expensive boat. They held their value so well.
Well, here's.
There's only
I
one
have
thing
my
with it, that's
original,
slow.
The
They
original
go
bill of
fast.
sale.
Compared with another
Oh,
boat.
yeah, I saw that one there, yeah.
Really?
$3,100.
I know, I said the same, sure.
But a cruising sailor is not that worried.
Yeah.
What kind
I've
of hull
seen
speed do you get?
6 at the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the design for sails and boom tent canvas items? You would have had I assume, a plan that you would give out to various approved sailmakers. What happened to those designs? Are they now floating freely among sailmakers, and that's why we can order a sail from anyone?
Every sailmaker actually could get from us the sail plan. Now, the type of sail that they design, that's up to them. So
The cut of the sail, it's just the basic dimensions, I guess.
Yeah, we just give
following.
the dimensions. So when we quite often actually we try out different sails. We have two major sailmakers, Janko and Stora, Sopstead Stora. And we use the Sopstead Stora for the 21 and the 28. And we use the Janko sails for all the other boats.
And then the boom tent, it seems to me there must have been a couple of boom tents or 3 variations depending on the boom length, which seems to vary. We cut our boom to match the boom tent that we bought because we had the long boom and it was apparently designed for the shorter boom.
Yeah, I think the original boom length was long because we had a different main sheet arrangement. And then it wasn't until later on actually that we came out with the boom tent. And at that time already we had the shorter.
Oh, well, the boom tent is later. That explains
In
that.
the beginning we didn't have the boom tent actually. And of course we tried to get a couple of new things to the siren. Usually every year we came up with some new ideas. So then we added the boom tent, and then I think Frazer once went to a camper show. We tried to sell sailboats to campers. So we actually had the boom tent, and I think that was the idea. Yeah. So to extend the living ability of the siren.
That was later in the 80s maybe, or it's still early?
No, you're asking about years. I mean, it's a bit of a blur. I could all be the 80s.
And
Well,
the
I used mine for that, funny enough. I towed it with two kids all the way down to Washington, and that's where the kids slept, was in the siren, and didn't take the master, I think just used it for a trailer.
Yeah. That's right, because we had well, you probably, that's right. We had a stand on top of the mast and brought in the gudgeons. So you could have the mast up there, and you could still have the boom tent. That's right.
Are the boom tent plans there, I suppose, that Genco and someone else you were mentioning have them here, perhaps?
I don't know if it's still in the book. I don't know what the drawings are. I think you might have it there.
I'm not sure, I can have a look in the drawing book.
There seems to be interest in coming up with maybe a simplified version of it in modern materials. I guess some people are interested and we're curious, rather than taking apart a boom tent and measuring all the panels, it'd be kind of nice if we could get the original drawings.
The chap that was working for us at that time, he still has an upholstery shop here in this area, Greg Martini. And he may still have it. He might, yeah.
I know Genco.
Genco has another.
Genco doesn't seem to be interested for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, he said it's too complicated.
Well, it was fairly complicated. Those are fairly expensive options as well.
Yes, but as tents go, once you've got the patterns, they can be sewn up, and a lot of enthusiasts are at the ready.
Yeah.
Actually, if you put an order, you get an order together, you know.
Okay, more questions?
No, for me. Nothing.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I just said, we're thrilled. Well, we have more questions.
I just had a question for John. Did you say that you could replace the rivets from the inside?
No, from the outside. You take the rubber insert out.
Yeah, okay. That's what I
You
didn't
know,
know.
sometimes you'll get a rivet popping
I got
loose.
one gone.
Yeah. Like if you've got a leaking, what you said, seal the top. Sometimes you get a rivet popping loose. Take the rubber off. You'll find those.
But you have to take all the rubber off, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
simple.
Is it?
Yeah, just heat it up, bucket of hot water to put it back on. You know, with a screwdriver. It's simple.
John, have you seen the news group?
Thank you.
Have you seen the news group? The news group for siren. It's pretty active.
Is it really?
And there's a lot of photographs. People are taking the sirens completely apart.
They are?
Even they've taken out the storage compartments, the bunks, everything, taken completely apart, redoing it, put it back together. All the pictures are there.
Yeah. Like restoring them.
Yeah, restoring it.
It's interesting.
It's 4G of the sailboat.
I'll just step in. I'm sure people have a lot of questions, and we can socialize maybe with a drink in our hands. But we really appreciate your time on a long weekend to come and talk to us. And we really enjoyed the boat, obviously. And we hope you enjoyed meeting us, and look forward to more reunions and more rendezvous. We'll keep you posted as things go on. We have a few party gifts for your...
Thank you very much. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the women behind the men, we have party gifts as well.
What a lovely surprise. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. It was really terrific to see all the boats out there. It was fantastic. Like, we don't have a lot of boats out in the bay anyway, but it was terrific to see all the sirens out there. The odd Sirius. Thanks very much.
Thank you.